Wonderful to hear that. Just want to make sure we are going out live and okay on YouTube. And in the meantime, and we've got pictures coming up as well. Who's that? Who's that who's the little King Charles Spaniel on the screen there? Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to
Oh,
you.
that's me. You see that?
Okay.
She's been
Yes.
she's been on there every week. That's my little girl.
Okay, with her little booties on there. Very nice. We'll come back. I think we'll have a Mandela moment maybe later, and maybe there's another chance to share that picture and to find out if Mandela has fabulous boots like that as well. If they do them in his smaller leg size, I suspect. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to Mandela's owner, or is it the other way around? I wonder. Gilda Pereira, how are you from EI from A this evening? How are you? How's it going in the world of migration?
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. Just had a fabulous webinar with Philomena on Portuguese language and culture around shopping. So that was a great session, and that'll be up on our YouTube channel. So yeah, buzzing from that, really great. And how's your day been?
Oh, it was busy. It was really busy
Okay,
today.
nice busy one. Okay, and
Yeah.
what's going on? We're into September now, of course. We're into what feels like a slightly autumnal atmosphere. People are back at work now. How's that first week back at work for many people in Portugal been, Gilda?
Well, actually, we have some news. Some of the IMA appointments finally opened.
Oh,
The
great.
problem is that there are so many people calling IMA
Back
that
at work now.
it's
How's that first?
almost impossible for them to answer the phone. But we keep trying. We managed to have some appointments, but only the urgent ones. And we are trying and getting crazy calling IMA every day.
So back in business, but dealing with a backlog, obviously, after the
Yes.
holiday and the natural or normal backlog that you have with that organization anyway.
And also the consulates, they have more people working there now. So I think this is a positive thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So some good movement and well, at least in the right direction, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. Great. Okay. Anything else to share from the visa world?
No, that's it for now.
Visa sphere. Okay, thank you very much for now, Gilda. And I'm sure you can take questions Casa Portuguesa wise as well this evening. Great to have you here. And we will have a Mandela moment, I think, at around 5:30. Daniel Reyes also here. Daniel, how are you? I think fresh from the Açores.
Yes, I came last Friday from the Açores. I was a bit away, but now I'm fully back. Windy Lisbon, though. It's the last few days I've been quite windy.
Yes.
But apart from that, all good.
But as a sailor, I imagine you'll like a bit of wind, as it were.
Yes.
There's a cold wind as well, isn't there, blowing up Portugal at the moment?
It seems like the summer has went away, but probably we'll have a little bit of summer left towards the end of September, and I'm looking forward for that.
Right. And in the world of law, the legislators have been having a break. Are they back in business yet?
Well, Parliament will be in session soon, so I think that we'll start having fresh news. The debate that has been ongoing now, it's for the budget, and if they'll reach a consensus on the budget, the parties are doing a bit of a dramatization, but I think that's at the end the budget will pass because no one wants to go to elections. So this is my assessment out of the situation. I may be wrong, but I think that we'll have a budget at the end.
And dramatization is not unusual, am I right?
Oh, yes, it's politicians doing politician stuff. So yeah, quite normal,
And
especially during summer. It's always fun to see
Yes.
politicians fighting in flip-flops and shorts. So it's a cool time to see them fighting with words. Of
taking their flip-flops off to each
Yes.
other. Okay. All right. So, and this posturing is about the power balance, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just stopping short of calling an election, but getting things done. That's the kind of the accelerator and the brake combo in the Portuguese Parliament, isn't it?
The two main parties, they're really close together, and if they go to elections again, probably even if the party that is now in opposition, if they win the election, they will not win for a big distance, so they'll get a new stalemate. So
Yeah.
no one is really interested in just jumping into new elections. And although they may be dramatizing quite a lot, I think that at the end the budget will pass and we'll have a stable government. But well, let's see.
That's the big news then. We're waiting for the budget to pass, and that's where the eyes will be in politics and law at the moment. Okay, thanks, Daniel. Great to see you, and it's great to have you here. And any questions about the law here in Portugal, we can put those to Daniel this evening. The world of insurance now. Another wobbly. It's windy in Portugal, and it's wobbly still as well. We've had another little tremor, haven't we, Nuno?
Yes, it seems so. This early morning, 3.1 on the Richards scale. So it was a weak one. But
Yes.
We have talked about the property insurance and the earthquake coverage. It also is important to think that people that has mortgages, that usually the life insurance is mandatory also.
Yeah.
The large majority of the Portuguese insurers don't cover earthquakes, is one of the exclusions. Okay.
Right. Okay.
There are pretty much 3 or 4 insurers that insured earthquakes. So be aware of this. You don't want to stay without your home and with the mortgage, needs to pay keep paying the mortgage.
Yes.
So take a look on the life insurance policy also. Okay.
Check your policy. And can I still extend your very kind offer whereby people can send their policies, well, not send their policies, but get in touch with you and have it explained to them?
Please.
Okay.
It could be easy for us look at the wording and the coverage of the insurance.
Yes, well, that's a very kind offer and a very helpful team that you have there at Winsurance who will do that for everybody, or anyone who gets in touch with you at iamsafe@winsurance.pt. Anything else to report from insurance, Nuno?
About insurance, no, but I can share something with you. So after three days break, so 3 days of vacation, which is it was amazing. So
good for you. Oh, it's full of surprises. Okay, bit of James Brown in his mojo tonight. He's feeling good, like a sex machine. Maybe we'll find out in the next hour.
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay, fair enough. We've got to draw the line somewhere. Bit of James Brown. I never thought I would see the day that there will be some James Brown in the Expats Portugal Dream Team session on a Thursday evening. But I'm delighted. Thank you. Those 3 days off have done you a lot of good, Nuno, clearly. Do it again sometime. All right, fantastic. Pedro, can you follow that? Pedro Branco. Have you brought your own music?
Very nice, Nuno. No.
I think we've got a very different vibe from you tonight, Pedro.
No news, no tax news, no tax this week.
Okay.
Everything else is the same. Just having some too cool weather in Porto, in the north of Portugal.
Yes.
For me, I came back from vacation 2 weeks ago, and it's already almost like winter. I don't understand this.
I don't understand
I'm a little bit
either.
depressed, but besides that, I'm good.
All right, my cultural question tonight might be then, for anyone who's moved here and the weather's upset them, who should they complain to? Is there like a national complaints book for weather? Can we? I'll come back to that a bit later on.
It's São Pedro.
Oh, okay.
Saint Peter.
Oh, okay. So that's what we do. We pray to say we don't complain. We pray. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. More on that later on in the call, perhaps. Maybe there's a James Brown solution to it as well. So we'll come back to all of that later on in the Dream Team session. We did have a question in our last session, Pedro, about the validation of one's invoices, receipts when you've been using your número de contribuinte at the supermarket or wherever else you use it. And the deadline for validation, for one thing, and another part of that, which is if you think you've given your details and when you go to the portal, you can't see it, can you manually enter it? Do you have any redress if you don't find what you think you've paid for and are claiming for on the portal? So can you help us with that?
Yes, great. Good question. So you can validate your expenses until February 25 of the following year.
Great.
But not all expenses. So I'm talking about when you give your NIF, just to make a small introduction, when you give your NIF to restaurants or to supermarkets, when you are buying stuff. The point of giving your NIF is only if you are paying taxes in Portugal and you need to make deductions, personal deductions, okay? And there are like 5 or 6 buckets of different types of deductions. And you have health expenses, restaurants expenses, general expenses, and all of these go into different buckets. So you can check this on your website of Finances until February 25. Okay, it's when you can see if the expense is there, and if you can, if for example, it's an expense of education of your kids, but it's classified under a different label, and you want to complain or you want to change, you can change it until February 25. Okay. But not all expenses go into there. So, for example, rent receipts, they are not there unless they are invoiced by a company. But if it's a singular a flesh and bone person who is renting the apartment, who is issuing rent receipts, it will not go into e-fatura. You cannot see the invoices. You can only see that in the end in your deductions when you are about to submit your IRS.
Okay.
You can consult. There is a small space where you can click and you see all your deductions. Okay.
Right.
Also, receipts from like insurance cards, expenses that you send to the insurance, and also insurance receipts. They don't go into e-fatura. Sometimes they are in a different space, but don't worry if you don't see all your expenses. When you file your income tax return, you can manually edit everything that is on e-fatura. So all the expenses that were automatically communicated, and you can manually insert the ones, for example, the ones that were incurred outside of Portugal. So if you had an operation outside of Portugal, you can deduct the medical expense.
Yes.
You can put it manually, as long as you have evidence for this, of course.
Okay.
So
that's really, really helpful. And we'll pick up on a lot of this, I think, next week in the webinar session that we're having around taxation next Thursday evening at 7:30. Kazuo, did you want to come onto the screen live this evening and ask a little bit
Yes,
more?
I was trying to. Yes, I was trying to, but computer suddenly shut down. So
They do
I
that,
avoid
don't they?
avoid the video call. And thank you very much for the explanation. And so, by the way, sorry, it's the same the question as before. And in case I find any items without the category, the registration category on the finances portal, I can just register the category by myself, as you said, right?
yes, that's correct.
Yes, correct. And also, if I don't find the item itself, of the purchase, still I can upload that item manually, as you said, right?
Yes, you don't need to upload any document. You just write the amount on the boxes that you have in the tax return.
Yes, actually,
really
it was
good.
my question. Yes.
Yeah, isn't that
because
great?
Then you just have to, by the way, we have this all these invoices in e-fatura automatically communicated. That doesn't mean that we don't have to keep the documents, okay?
that was my question. Yes. So in
Yes, no,
Japan,
we should,
actually,
of course, I don't keep it, but if you are audited, you will need to show the documents, if they ask you, of course. For example,
if they ask.
if you usually they only audit you if you go over a threshold on a certain type of expenses. Let me give you an example. If you have 5,000 euros of health expenses, which means that you might have got some operation or something.
Mm.
Probably they will ask for an audit on those expenses, and you have to show them the physical documents or the PDF documents. It doesn't have, because nowadays you can submit everything to them. If you are being audited, you submit everything by the Portal das Finanças, so you don't have to have in
Wow.
paper. Just keep a copy on your Google Drive or whatever,
Okay.
or
So,
Dropbox, and that's enough. Yeah.
so only in case they ask me, I present that document.
Yes.
Otherwise,
for
I
4
don't need to
years.
attach.
So you should keep those for a period of 4 years for the IRS. Okay.
4 years, I see.
That's
Okay,
great.
yes,
yes,
By the way, is that everything for you? I'm so glad we managed to answer your question that came up in the last
yes.
session. And I think we've
Thank
done
you
that
so much.
successfully tonight. Cheers, Pedro. That's really great. Thank you, Kazuo, for that. And Pedro, I'd like to ask you, I imagine you're in your role at EI, you're dealing with huge taxation consultancy issues. Is it a service of A as well to help people with the filing? So if somebody is thinking to themselves, that's everything that Pedro just said sounds really complicated. Can they do that for me? Is that a service you're now offering?
Yes, we do. We file taxes. So we have three major services, which is the consultation, just to give you general guidelines about how the tax system works and how you will be impacted in your income streams, depending on your type of your income streams. But I don't get too much in detail into what's going to be your precise taxation, because I cannot make those calculations on a 45 minutes consultation. So
Yes.
this is one service. Another service is we file the income tax returns. And the different service is we make financial tax planning for, so for example, even before you come to move to Portugal,
Yes.
maybe you'd like to make a 5-year or a 10-year plan of tax planning. So you know that you have some income streams of capital gains, financial investments, pensions, so all of that, sometimes very complex, and you want to know, okay, if I touch this money, how am I going to be hurt in Portugal?
Yes.
In Portugal,
Or your crypto for that matter, yeah.
Yeah, so we make this kind of tax planning and in advance so that people can make decisions in anticipation and understand where they are going. Yeah.
Right. So I'm very glad I asked that question. So everything from a consultation to give people a bit of a heads up to the biggest sort of blue sky picture, strategic planning of taxation affairs, right down to the granular reporting and filing, you can help with everything along that spectrum. Perfect.
Yes.
Love
Yes,
that.
I can.
Okay. And that's going to come as a relief to a lot of people. And I think you've made a load more new friends tonight on this call as a result of that. And the details for getting in touch with A are on the screen there, as you can see behind Pedro Franco, who's with us this evening. Okay, let's go to the questions in the chat. And it's a busy chat tonight, at least over here on Zoom with the premium members. Bit quiet on YouTube. You're very welcome to ask questions over there as well. But let's prioritize what's happening over here on Zoom. And I think a little bit of background information, what people have been up to. I didn't know there was a Ray Milland movie called Lisboa from 1956. That's amazing. And I didn't know Ray Milland was a Welshman. So there's some information for you if you want to. If you've got a link for that, that'd be even better. I'd love to watch a black and white movie about Lisboa. That'd be amazing. Called Lisboa there. Thanks, Pedro, for that. Congratulations coming in from Debbie, from Connie, certainly. Connie, your Saturday night social, you might want to tell us a little bit more about that in the chat, and I'll share that with everybody. What's it like to turn up for people who haven't been and might be a little bit worried about what goes on a Zoom social? Could you let us know what it's like to join you on the first Saturday of every month? And I'll share that with everybody. Where is that market? Espinho, about 25 minutes south of Porto. And you can take the train there and walk to the market, says Debbie. It is huge. It's quite extraordinary. Tom Smith is in Ohio this evening, where it's a pleasant late summer of 29 degrees centigrade. Winter is coming, but there will be a fall first. Let's not forget that. And Pedro with the bonnet, do Peixe de Galish as well. So cold and windy in Espinho. Going back to the weather today, grateful I took a sweater. It's all about the layers at the moment in Portugal. Take layers with you if you're going out and about in Portugal. Everyone there was wearing jackets today. Right, question for Gilda then. From Alex, in one of your past comments, you mentioned that you are starting to provide services like setting up electricity, internet. Who should be connected regarding those services? Now, it's something you've always done, Gilda, isn't it? But we're talking about more ongoing service with Casa Portuguesa as well, aren't we?
Yes, that we have always done.
Okay, and you're asking the question there in the chat: is it Lisbon or Porto? So that's generally where you operate with these services in connecting people, is in the main cities.
No, it can be everywhere, but I need to know, so I can't say which person from the team is it going to
Okay.
be closest to Lisbon or closest to Porto, so I can say who is going to be the person responsible. If not, you can just drop us an email and then we will forward to the person in
Nice.
charge.
Nice and easy. So yes, definitely Casa Portuguesa help with connecting you to the utilities, which might seem like a simple thing, but like we said, I think it was last week, when it starts to go wrong and people don't turn up, you're going to be glad you've hired Casa Portuguesa to get on the phone and get people round to your house and connect you to the human right, which is the internet, as well as electricity and water these days. So there you go, Alex. I'm still crying with laughter from the previous webinar, says Peder. That's what you missed. You can watch it again on Sunday night. Although I think it was the after party where we were having a lot of giggles tonight about pineapples in shopping trolleys. There was quite the theme developing along those lines, which has been all the rage, it seems, here in Portugal in a certain supermarket. And now it's James Brown and Nuno the Sex Machine. And somebody is, oh yeah, Paolo is suggesting every time a Dream Team member speaks, we demand to have background music. It's a great idea. I just don't know how to do it technically, but walk-on music would be great each time. Again, we could play Eye of the Tiger for somebody. Gilda, what theme music would you have each time you wanted to speak?
No idea.
Okay, I think other people might step in and help.
Yes, maybe you can give me ideas.
We're asking for trouble, but if you could suggest theme music for Gilda and Daniel, and Nuno's already done his, Pedro as well, that would be great. All right, thank you for your question, Ross, over there on YouTube. We'll come back to that. And we've got Alex's question sorted out there. Let's go to Naunu now. And we've been mentioning your name for months now, and we've called you the Naunu. And I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly. So let me know how I'm doing with that. And it was going to be quite an easy transition for you, Naunu, to come to Portugal, where I'm sure you'll be called Nuno. I heard Ima sent a pre-scheduled email for biometrics to everyone yesterday who came to Portugal on a tourist visa and applied for residency under the 88B and 89B even 3 months ago. And I'm still waiting for my D2 visa approval in home country. EI is looking into my files these days, so hopefully we will find some solution. I don't think that is a question, is it? That's a statement. But can you tell us a bit more about that? What is this movement that Nauno is talking about there?
Well, it's from my understanding, it's not everyone received the schedule so far, but they are speeding up to sort out the people that are these migration pending files. Okay, so yeah. IMA is trying to speed up and take care and make appointments for these manifestações de interesse that came up to an end because they want like to clear it up.
All right.
This is one thing, and this is happening in Portugal, okay? But another thing is people that are still waiting for a visa decision. In that case, it needs to be a communication between the consulate and the IMA people that decides about the visa. It's two different offices, two different operations. So nevertheless, things are speeding up here in Portugal for people that had expression of interest. It doesn't mean it's going to be faster for those that are still waiting for a visa approval.
Okay.
However, we are going to try to do something about it.
All right. Thanks.
And try to get an answer.
Thanks for that, Gilda, and thanks for suggesting that to us as something to cover this evening, Naunu. Friona, hello. Thank you for the session. It's a pleasure. We're here every Thursday evening at 9 o'clock. I'm about permanent residency after 5 years of golden visa. According to the IMA website, there are no requirements about the criminal clearance certificate of my passport country or previous residency. And I think you were straight on that, Daniel. If you could address that for us, I'd be grateful.
Yep. The permanent residency card can be obtained either via golden visa or via any other type of residency in Portugal. But the nuance on having a permanent residency card via golden visa is that the majority of the golden visa applicants do not live in Portugal, because if they wanted to live in Portugal full time, they would probably get some other type of residency permit, like a D7 or a D2 or any other type of residency permit. Thus, the criminal record, if you do live outside of Portugal, is still mandatory and necessary. All the renewals of a golden visa card, you do need indeed to deliver a new criminal record, and this is not the case for any other type of residency permits, because if you live here, you are under the scrutiny of the Portuguese police and the Portuguese courts, and thus your criminal record will pop up automatically between the IMA system and the court. So they do have a crossover of information. But if you do live abroad and you're not staying full-time in Portugal, then the Portuguese government wants to know if you're up to something wrong, and thus they will request your criminal record from abroad to do any type of renewal in the golden visa, as well as the permanent residency card. There may be an exception. You do have some golden visa applicants that do live in Portugal, but then it's a debate between the applicant and IMA, and we usually do advise our clients not to have that debate. Just obtain the criminal record, even if you may be living in Portugal, because that will save time and replying to notifications and whatnot. So the usual advice is, even if you're living in Portugal, if you are a golden visa applicant, please obtain your criminal record from the country of passport, because otherwise things may be stalled and there's no need for that.
Very good. Okay, and Friona, I think, is going to get in touch with you and reach out to you by email, contacto@respelicano.com, which is in the chat there. And I often say you can find everybody here in the business directory of expatsportugal.com. But also, Jerry, it's been made easier, hasn't it? There's a button now. Did you want to say something about that, Jerry?
Well, I think I've said it, but it's very simple. There's a button now on the top bar of our website where you can contact any member of our dream team directly. Just select who you want to talk to, type your message, and click away, and it'll go straight to that dream team member that you've selected. So that was it, Carl. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And that's over at expatsportugal.com, where, of course, you can sign up as a premium member as well. Always nice to see somebody doing that while we're live on air. So if you're doing that and you want to tell us you've just signed up over at expatsportugal.com, let us know. That might be Raffo or Ross or Hamad over there on YouTube. We'll come back to you. Oh, Raffo's quick weather report from Braga. It was cold in Gondiaes in Braga last night. So, yeah, it's getting chilly. But I'm hopeful for a San Martino summer. We'll get a bit more sunshine in October and November of this year, hopefully, and we'll get some late summer action here in Portugal. Thanks very much, Daniel, for answering Friona's question there. And Lex, I have a question on luggage certificates. If I'm bringing a guitar bought in 2020, but around $3,000 worth, $3,000 in my hand luggage, not shipping it, am I still required to get this luggage certificate, or is proof of my purchase years ago enough? Obrigado. Over to you, Gilda. Bringing a $3,000 guitar in as hand luggage, what might Lex need to show at the border?
Is he living in Portugal already, or?
Right. Okay. Let us know, Lex. And we're also going to ask you to
I need to know if you're coming with the residency visa or not.
Okay. So, but it's useful to have the receipt, is it not? I mean, in any
Yes, it's useful to have the receipt to show that it's been in your possession for at least more than 1 year. so
And
that
bought in 2020, we're going to be okay, aren't we, with that proof of purchase?
Yes.
It doesn't look like you're bringing a brand new guitar in to sell to somebody else, which I guess is the issue. Jerry,
Yes.
you unmuting to add something to that?
Well, yes, I have answered. I've actually done this. You just bring the guitar as hand luggage, and if it's more than 6 months and you've got proof of purchase, you're fine. It's part of your normal possessions. I mean, if you brought 3 guitars and they
Yeah.
all were brand new,
Drums,
somebody
a
might
keyboard.
go, "Oh, hang on a minute."
Yeah. But it also
But-
means that we can actually have live music when the Dream Team speak. There are now 2 guitarists here, obviously, and you can have a live band behind you, like a chat show.
Yeah, we could do
Letterman
that.
style,
Yeah.
maybe for the Dream Team tonight. So there you go, Lex. I hope that helps. Connie's answered my question about the first Saturday of each month. There's an online social, 8 p.m. Portugal time, RSVP at expatsportugal.com. It's fun. It's a party atmosphere. So informal, where we talk about Portugal. There will be people on there who live in Portugal now, who are coming to scout, and those who are moving here. So it's a nice social for networking, fun and friendly group who will answer questions and share their experiences. So come and check it out. That's a lovely invitation. Thank you, Connie, for that. Friona, second question from Friona. I became a tax resident and NHR on the 1st of November 2023. That's a key date, isn't it? Do I need to send 2 declarations? First is from January 23 till October 23 as non-resident, and second declaration November to December 23 as a resident. What would you say about that, Pedro?
Yes. If she had no income before November 1st, it would be a partial income tax return. But because she has income as non-resident, like for example rental income, she might have to file 2 tax returns. I'm not sure about that procedure, but I will confirm, and next week I will give the answer. So I will ask directly to the tax authorities.
Oh,
If
fantastic.
it's 2 tax returns instead of 1, or if we have to make a side like a side appeal to consider the rental income apart.
That's brilliant service. There you go. Pedro will find out for you there. Friona, great service. Thank you very much for that. Going back to you now. Oh, Lex says, Gilda, that yes, importer has a residency permit, always gets stopped at the airport, although they've never found anything. Thanks. And I think Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys is possibly Gilda's walk-on music. It's possible. On this note,
I like that.
yeah, she's on fire every Thursday evening at 9, answering your questions about visas. And I spoke, Capricorn Chris. I saw him today at lunchtime, and we were talking about the lady lawyers of EI, and he said, with the law of the jungle, it's always the lion who roars, but the one who gets stuff done is the lioness, and that's why you need a lady lawyer here, and that's why he was so appreciative of your team. Is there any truth in that, Gilda, or should I ask Daniel about that? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense, but you can ask Daniel.
Okay, we may come back to Daniel on that. I don't want to be too controversial this evening. For Daniel, of course, we can have "We Are Sailing" by Rod Stewart, unless we can improve on that. It's a bit downbeat, isn't it? But maybe a more up-tempo sailing song for Daniel's walk-on music. But let's stay with you, Gilda. Last week you said, hi, Gilda, describe the automatic residency renewal process as random. Is it that's in quotes? Is it truly so, or can you explain in more detail? I'm days away from expiry and understood that the old Sept portal, that is Sept.pt, was still being used. Currently, I get a vague error message when I try to renew there, but I've heard of other similar cases where one magical day the error message disappears and it becomes a straightforward online process. So should I just wait for this day? So is it random? And is that exactly what Ian B is talking about there?
Yes, it is random. Although it is true what you're saying. You should keep trying the automatically renew, because the renewals for cards that expired in August haven't opened yet. So if your card, we were only able to make the renewals of the residency permits that expired until the 31st of July. So from the 31st of July on, the portal is not available yet.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yep.
I think that if you are days to expire, it seems that it's not on the time to do it.
Hmm.
Okay, so you still need to wait and keep trying.
All right. And yeah, that's what Kazuo is adding here. I'm trying on renewal, but get the message. O título de residencia que possui não permite a utilização da funcionalidade renovação automática. I keep checking, but it doesn't change. But I guess the advice is to keep checking.
Okay,
Yes,
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Mhm.
Okay, there
Yes.
you go. All right, and we're staying with you, Gilda. And these were the questions that Debbie wanted to be put forward on behalf of friends here. My questions for Gilda pertain to my going to AIMA today, and a friend who is using A for their paperwork has asked me to consider signing TOR for them instead of their getting a lease. Oh yes, terms of responsibility. They will not be living with me, and we are not related. The questions, therefore, then are: I don't have a 9-digit number on my paperwork. Will my residency number be assigned later? Should we do these one at a time?
Okay, so you don't need to show 9-digit number income, but you need to be aware that if you are going to sign a term of responsibility, you are going to be saying to the migration authorities that these people are going to stay with you. This means if they are not going to stay with you, you are lying to the authorities.
Yeah.
And
Okay, that's a good answer because they're not going to stay with me. I actually have a roommate coming who's already been to VSF and she is on my lease. These other
that is a
people,
different story. Yeah.
I know it's a different story, and I did not offer to put them on my lease, and they're moving to Setúbal. Is that how you say it?
Setúbal.
Setúbal. So they're not even coming to Coimbra, but they don't like that they have to pay for a few months' rent like the rest of us did. So.
I'm
So
sorry,
they want
but
to do a TOR.
Debbie, I'm sorry. You should not put yourself in that position because this is really a crime.
Okay.
Stating false declarations. And Daniel, you can.
It's a thumbs
Yeah,
up
he
from
knows.
Daniel in case anybody didn't see that.
Okay.
I think a stern advice there from the Alicia Keys.
Also,
Girl is on fire
everyone
tonight.
needs to pay a 12 lease agreement before they come. So
Yeah. That is just
no
what
one
you're
likes
advocating,
that, but
nobody
it's
likes.
the
Well,
rules.
the landlords don't mind.
Yeah, I had to, I
Right.
did.
Yes. Yeah.
But
It's just one
okay,
of
so
those
that
things.
answers number 2. So but just because I'm curious, so if they were coming to live with me, which they are not, would I have to prove income? I already told them I make enough for my own D7, but I don't make enough to sponsor anyone else. So
No,
would that also be a no?
No, that is not going to be an issue because the only thing that you are stating is that they are going to live with you under your rental agreement or in your house. In this case, it's a rental agreement. So, but even though the consulates are being very picky with the terms of responsibility with rental agreements, sometimes they want an additional letter from the owners saying that there is no problem of having more people there.
Okay, I would not be able to get that from my landlord, just to tell you.
See, so it's a risk. It's a risk. So that's
it's a good question to generalize as well, because you won't be the only person, and your friends won't be the only people thinking this. And it sounds like it's a world of pain. It's not to be entered into lightly, is it? And you could, it's not something to play with, as Gilda has quite firmly pointed out, I think, this evening. So thank you for that, Gilda, and thanks for the question, Debbie.
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, they're nice people, and I would do it if it was legal and it could be done. But I didn't realize I would have to say they're living with me, and I know I can't get away with that. I mean, I just know that I can't. So there's the answer. So they're gonna.
Yes, my advice: don't put yourself in that position.
Yeah, And anyone else thinking that, don't do that. It's too risky, isn't it? It's
Okay.
not. It's not a good look. It's not a good situation to be in. And why jeopardize your own situation for the sake
Yes.
of other people who you're you're making yourself responsible for? It sounds very, very risky, indeed. There. So, but thanks for bringing it up, because I'm sure you're not alone in considering and thinking about that. So thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Gilda, on that.
Okay. And thank you for the answer, Gilda.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, Gilda, on that. Anything else, Debbie?
I did have one more question. Let's see if I can remember what
We're
it
here
was.
for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's the Mandela moment that I promised. Let's come back to your pooch in just a moment. But how is Mandela,
Okay.
Gilda? We haven't heard for a little while on a Mandela update.
Well, he's very how should I say, calm these days.
Really? What's your secret? Has he matured? Is that what's happened? Has he grown up finally?
Maybe.
Right. Okay. It happens to some males.
I sometimes I even miss the old days.
Really? I never
Yeah.
thought I'd hear you say that. And I don't suppose you ever thought you'd hear yourself say that either. Right. Okay. Well, lots of love to Mandela. Sounds all quiet. And let's keep our fingers crossed for that. Debbie, how's your pooch settled? And this is an interesting question, I think, for others bringing pets to Portugal. And what's your experience been like? Your dog looks very happy there.
She really is. And I am so surprised. There are Cavalier King Charles Spaniels all over the place. So when I went to the Algarve, my neighbor that's got one, he watched Dazzle, and then he just went to Fig Foch, and I watched his Cavalier, and then some other friends came over, and we had some coffee the other day with theirs, and there's a lot. So I brought her over on the Queen Mary too, because they have kennels. And just the way that I did it, like with the really cheap little room, it really wasn't a lot more than flying, and it was a lot more comfortable. So we got off the boat in Hamburg, Germany, and then flew to Lisbon. I will say one of the hassles is that it's hard to like I can't get her on a bus unless she's in a carry bag. The Uber drivers or the Bolt drivers, a lot of them don't like that I have a dog, even though the dog is in a bag. They don't like that. But I do find there's a lot of dog lovers here in the area. I'm on a street where a lot of people have dogs, and all the dogs look cared for and fluffy and happy. So
Fantastic. Good to hear.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and my other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so this is just kind of maybe a funny question. So I thought, well, I also feel funny. So today I go to IMA, and then tomorrow I say, oh, and I'm going to bring these other people. I don't know. That just kind of seemed like it would jeopardize my own application.
What's the question then? What's the question?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The
it's like
question is a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is more of
Yeah.
a thought. It's like, okay, so I'm coming and I'm responsible for myself. Oh, let me bring these other two people. And it just seemed, I just felt like maybe it would jeopardize my own application for residency. So that was just a thought.
It seems it's a bit like the oxygen on a plane, isn't it? Think about putting your mask on. And deal with your own oxygen supply before you get too involved in other people's stuff, I guess, and processes. So yeah, I think a good thought there. Thanks for that, Debbie. And I love how romantic your journey to Portugal was, or how romantic it sounds. You came by ocean liner to Portugal. It sounds like something from a bygone age, doesn't it? And you came over leisurely with your dog in the cabin there. Sounds fantastic. And it must be quite special having a King Charles at the moment. We actually have a King Charles in the UK. Is that added to the cachet of owning that breed?
Well, I suppose, but last year, but when I was still checking out, like, what country do I want to move to? So last summer, I spent 4 months abroad. I'm from the US, and we did spend time in the UK, and we were there during the coronation. And one of the local pubs, who the owners have Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, they had a Cavalier coronation party during the coronation, and all the little dogs had little paper crowns, and it was
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I asked.
This is funny. So I had a shirt made up, and it had, that picture of King Charles on his throne. And then I had an artist friend take that same picture, but swap out the head for her head. And she put a little crown on the dog, and underneath it said, the real King Charles.
There's a time in England where you'd been locked in the tower for that sort of humor, but thankfully, thankfully these days they're a little more lenient. Brilliant story. Thank you very much. Thanks for the update. Fantastic, Debbie, and great news. Yeah, cheers. So chin chin to you this very evening. Right. Loads of questions, as it turns out, and we are prioritizing the premium members here on Zoom in the webinar. So it's another good reason to become a member. Not seen anyone sign up just yet, but do that if you're over on YouTube and you want to join the queue here on Zoom. So let's get back to that queue. And we've got a great question from Peter. Peter B, which visas can be applied for whilst visiting, if any, Gilda?
I'm sorry, which visas
Which
can be
visas
applied?
can be applied for while visiting, as in country? Now we know visas are generally asked for out
No,
of
no,
country.
no.
No.
Any.
Nothing.
If you are visiting, you are visiting. If you want to come and live here, you need to apply on your country
Yep.
of nationality or the country where you are living. You have a residency permit.
If you're working, not visiting, does that change anything? You shouldn't be working without a visa anyway, should you?
Yeah, you are not supposed to come to work without a visa.
Right. Okay. Daniel's unmuted. Do you want to add
just
something?
the golden visa is the exception for that.
Right.
Enter Portugal and apply directly here. In Portugal, you don't need to request a prior visa in the country that you have your passport or where you do reside. But Gilda, I do think there's an exception for the student visa, isn't it?
Yes, for the student visa and for the highly qualified. However, we are not getting appointments for that in 2 years. So
Wow. Okay. And this is a sort of thing that starts on social media, isn't it? You know, somebody will get the impression there are visas that you can apply for whilst in the country. It gets generalized and people get their hopes up. So, but it's quite exceptional and quite a small audience, as it turns out, with the examples you've been given there. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Gilda. And we have Mario and Rachel. Are there any signs that appointments are coming soon for the family reunion, Article 15? Not family reunification, please. Are we staying with you, Gilda, for that?
yes, I think so. I believe they will come up soon because they have opened some slots for family reunification and for people that came with visa without an appointment.
Yeah.
Although we've been trying to call during all the week and we only managed to get 3 calls answered. Which is very frustrating, very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
But having this said, I think that they will open soon for the Article 15.
Okay, you're feeling it. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, a nice prediction there. From it's got to happen.
Usually, I don't get wrong with my predictions.
It's so true, and it's going to be true one day, isn't it? For sure, but hopefully sooner rather than later. I got a point of order from EMB. My question got skipped. I think I've done it now. But if I haven't, I don't mind being prompted because it's quite a busy environment here. If I've missed something, I don't mind you telling me in the chat or sending me a direct message like happened there. So let me know if I've overlooked you over here on Zoom. We've asked Friona's question, ably dealt with by Pedro and LaRonda. Good evening to you. Thank you for that comment. Okay, yes, EMB, we did answer that, didn't we, about whether it was random or not. So I think that's been done to your satisfaction. That's the message. So we should wait a few more months, it seems. Here's a video of somebody who succeeds with patience. Thank you for that link as well, EMB there. Sarah from A says, Nano is helping my employee create a bank account at Millennium. Any ideas how much time it usually takes? It has been around for 3 weeks now, so just wondering, one important piece of information, my employee is a Russian citizen, if that affects the bank approval time. So this is interesting, Gilda. It sounds like progress has been made in you helping people open bank accounts. Is there a complication if it's a Russian citizen? Just talking generally here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, simple answer to that. And there's no problem these days in opening accounts for people. You've got that nailed now, have you?
Yes, but I would like you to send me an email so I can see what is. I think I know what is the situation, but just to make sure, because Sarah is now on holidays, and I want to make sure that that everything is in place.
Right. Okay. We'll come back to your question, Alex, which Jerry's all over in terms of car importation there. It's an interesting one, so I will read that out in just a moment, but we'll stay with you, Gilda, while we've got you. What do you mean by highly qualified? And at this point, you can say it's not rocket science, or it's not brain surgery, but it probably is when it comes to highly qualified. Are those the sort of professions you'll be looking at?
A highly qualified professional by the Portuguese law is someone that is hired with a salary equal or more than 1,500, needs to have a bachelor degree and 5 years experience in the job that they are applying. But to apply for these direct residency permits, you need to have a job contract.
Okay. So there you go, Jen. That's Gilda describing what highly qualified actually means there. You look lovely as well, says Chef CT. But the main compliment this evening from YouTube is for Daniel. Love you without the beard. You actually have got a beard, though. I mean, we're talking about the big bushy one, aren't we? The Captain Haddock special that you've
He
had.
looks younger.
Yeah, and Chef says, Daniel, love you without the beard. Looking sharp, Gilda.
I just got the beard today, so this is quite a novelty.
It's like you without that's how people see you without a beard, as you
Yes,
are.
this is me without a beard because it was a big bush. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
a
Okay, so
sailor's beard.
cheers, Chef. And just Jess say, good to know. I plan to bring my Maltese/poodle mix with me during my move. So that was great, Debbie, chatting to you about your King Charles there. Thank you so much, Gilda from Kazua. It is good to know. I'll wait until AMA opens renewal for applications of August expiry. Brilliant. And Ian B, I think we've helped you tonight. Ian B, to your satisfaction. Let me know if that's not happened. And Debbie, yes, is already on the admin and the paperwork regarding your question, and that's great. Just to clarify with you, Daniel, then from Jen, is able to meet with us well ahead of applying for a visa to discuss tax issues, laws, etc. We want to know about our retirement, social security, selling the house, and some other complicated money investment retirement items. Sounds like a combo possibly then of you, Daniel, and Pedro.
Yes, if it's visas, well, it's going to be Gilda. If it's international taxes, it's going to be Pedro. If it's investing here in Portugal, buying property here, I'll be more than welcome to assist. I think that the vision is more or less this one.
And that's why we call it the Dream Team, of course, who you can find in the business directory or the new facility on the website. It's a menu there for getting in touch directly with all the members that you need to speak to, as Daniel laid out for you there. Thank you for that question, Jen. Laronda says, well, we're with you, Daniel. I'm absolutely obsessed with Daniel's beard. I will be back next week to watch. Should we have our own separate webinar for Daniel's beard, Jerry? I don't know. Maybe. Charlie is asking, does anyone have experience with an online bank called Nickel.pt? If so, could it be an alternative to having an account with a traditional bricks and mortar Portuguese bank? Now, Gilda, this doesn't fly, does it? Because there's the likes of Wise and Revolut, and people, have money with Spartan, of course. But you've got to have a proper old-fashioned Portuguese bank, haven't you, to make it meaningful in the processes of moving to the country?
Yes, that is true. They require a Portuguese bank.
Yes.
And money in a Portuguese bank account.
Yes.
In order to proceed with the visa process or residency permit.
And even though Revolut, for example, has a major office here now in Matosinhos, around Porto area, they're still not part of the establishment, are they? I think it's the old-fashioned banks, isn't it, and that are backed by, or underwritten or connected with Banco Portuguesa, rather than these new unicorn-type banks. They're not being let into the club, are they, really?
No.
I think that's the gist of it. Okay, back to that hybrid question. Thanks, Alex. And sorry, YouTubers, I'm going to struggle to get to you tonight. You know what to do. Is it possibly less trouble to bring an almost new 2024 hybrid car to Portugal from the US than a gasoline one, or is the same level of trouble? The price for this US brand car, a hybrid Jeep Wrangler, is around 52K, and the same car in Portugal is 85. It's a big difference. What do you say about that, Jerry? Because you're the man we go to with these vehicle questions.
Well, the most important thing is that we check the price to matriculate that car before any commitment is made to ship it. Carl, we had a case, I think, when we last discussed this a few weeks ago. There was a case of somebody had a Lexus, shipped a Lexus from Canada.
Yes.
It was a hybrid. It costs, and it was 60,000 to matriculate it. Is that right? Something like that?
It was outrageous. Yes. And didn't they send it back in the end?
They just sent it back. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, let's check it out properly. There isn't some table we can pull out and just give you the price. It depends on the car and how old, and how old it is and where you bought it and certificate of conformity and all kinds of things like that. So check the price. But my gut feeling is it won't be worth it. It'll cost you more to ship it than it would to buy that car in Portugal. Having said that, there are plenty of other electric cars in Portugal that might be worth looking at.
And
that
there's a
would be a lot
subsidy.
less expensive.
And the subsidies available in purchasing electrics here in Portugal as well, make it a little bit more
Yes.
advantageous.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. That's great. And we have webinars previously, of course, on car importation and buying cars and where to find cars here in Portugal that you can find on our YouTube channel. Right, 2 minutes to go. The point is that it's a Jeep Wrangler. Well, if you're looking for a particular car, I mean, it's worth talking to the car experts here at Expats Portugal. So let's send a message to Jerry, I think, and see what you can do with the Jeep Wrangler sourcing here in Europe, Alex. Thanks, everyone, says Laranda. We're not finished just yet. I've got about 2 minutes, and I'd like to get a cultural question in. And the question came up about pineapples in shopping trolleys at Mercadona, which people, and I know I keep going on about this, but it's of some interest to people who are moving to Portugal. We now have EP Friend Finder. It's a great place to make friends. It's a possible romance opportunity. But panel, I don't suppose any of you are pushing pineapples around the supermarket. You're all accounted for as far as I know. But if you were giving advice to people who are new to Portugal and they're single and they want to reach out in that dating environment, Daniel's cracking up already. I don't know why. This is a serious question, Daniel. What's the thing to do? Should you be pushing an upside down pineapple around Mercadona, or are there better ways to make friends in a Portuguese way? We'll start with you, Daniel, because you seem quite amused by my question already.
Well, I just seen this trend in social media, and it's so ridiculous that I don't know what to think of it. So, if you want to do friends, go to Mercadona. Try your best luck. I've never went to Mercadona actually, so I'm not.
That's why you were feeling so alone, Daniel.
But it's fun. Just go to Mercadona, have a shopping cart with the pineapple upside down, and beat on anyone else's shopping cart and try your luck.
My goodness, that's some.
You should
very
try it
firm.
yourself, Daniel.
No, I
Sheldon,
don't
leave him
think so.
alone.
Or
Leave him
go to Pink Street in Lisbon, have a few drinks, and meet people in the street. That's probably the best way to get
Yes,
around.
absolutely. Well said. Thank you for that, Daniel. So pineapples or Pink Street, great options there this evening. And it's so fresh in our memory, this pineapple phenomenon. But I was wondering, within the Portuguese culture, what's recommended for meeting people? What do Portuguese people do? Let's ask you, Pedro, on that note. Generally speaking, what goes on?
Yes, I think I'm outside of that championship for some time, but
Right, okay. But any advice
but
to single people?
in any case, I have a friend. Who knows? No, but I mean, nowadays I think I've seen people meet when jogging at 8 a.m. in the morning or 7 a.m. So I think the night has been traded by daily activities like sporting,
Yeah, the
something like
old-fashioned way you
or
might.
Mercadona, or
Okay.
Mercadona, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Pedro, for that. No, we'll go to Gilda last because I'm sure she'll have a cracking answer for this. How you can meet people in Portugal if you're single. Nuno, what would your advice be? Thank you, Pedro.
I don't have any special advice.
Well, thank you.
If it serves you, go ahead.
Right.
If he's in Mercadona with pineapples, if he's on social media, or if he is meeting people in person,
yeah,
which I prefer.
Yes. Yeah.
But if it serves you, go ahead. They
And
have.
walking into a room playing James Brown's probably quite a good way of meeting people as well, isn't it? As you demonstrated earlier on.
Yeah, but I need to clarify this. Only the part of I feel good,
Not
not
sex
the other
machine.
part. Okay, not the other part.
Right. Right. Yeah, Cold Sweat is another one of his tunes. His catalogue is extensive. Right. Thank you, Nunu. Great job tonight. Gilda, finally, this girl's on fire. Is her final answer going to be on fire and on point tonight and meeting people here in Portugal? If you're single.
Oh, so first of all, I totally agree with Diana B.
Right.
I'm so glad I'm married already. I'd hate to have been start jogging at 8 a.m.
Yes, indeed.
And if I did, my moods would be so bad that I don't think anyone would want me.
They would see you at your best
Yeah.
and worst, wouldn't they? In one more.
But I still think that going out at night in a bar,
Yep.
having a drink,
Yep.
and meeting people, good fashion way is still the better way.
And we're in luck, aren't we? Portugal has 1 or 2 bars, and there are a few drinks available in this country as well. So we're in luck. Go on, Jerry. Thank you, Gilda.
I would like to add to this that my younger brother, who was single for many years, he had a great trick in a supermarket, which didn't involve a pineapple, I'm pleased to say. He would pick up a pack of food and then he would find an attractive lady and he would go up and say, "Excuse me, can you help me? Can you tell me if this is enough for one person for a meal? And how would I go about cooking it?"
Classy.
Apparently it worked every time.
Very, very, very good. Some brilliant advice. Nunu's got more. Go on, Nunu. Thanks, Jerry. Nunu.
Well, just to know that on next Saturday, I believe, Connie will be promoting an online meeting, right?
Yes. Safe and hygienic on a Zoom call.
So if it's the case, just leave your pineapple through
on the screen.
Yeah.
Pineapple emojis at the ready this Saturday night. It's very subtle.
Yeah.
Not.
There is also a very other important thing we have to debate on Saturday. Hank has been considering buying a bicycle, and he's been considering buying some Lycra shorts.
Oh no!
And we have to debate that and consider whether we really want Hank to be wearing Lycra shorts.
It's a gallery full of wagging fingers and shaking heads. We can answer that right away. No, Hank. Could you pass that on, Connie, please?
You guys are ruining my Saturday night already.
Sorry. Well, what you do in your own time is your business. Okay. Yeah. On that note, thank you, everybody. Great session. Take care. Bye for now.